Actually, we use three principles in what we call the growth triangle, and this is related to the what, where, and how. Every year, organizations spend more than 30 billion creating strategies, and more than 80% of these strategies fail. So the four disciplines of executions methodology combined with the alignment canvas and the playbooks that we have provides really the framework for our organizations seeking to improve strategic execution by creating a culture of high performance.
Welcome to Road to Revenue Leadership, a show that candidly explores how hard it is to create, build, and scale world-class revenue organizations by leaders that have been there, done that, and have seen the results. My name is Dylan Mendes, founding CEO of USite, and I'm excited that you're tuning in to the podcast. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. Enjoy.
All right. Well, Sanne, not Sander, but Sanne. I suggest that we just start right off the bat, and maybe you can start just by introducing yourself. You know, who is Sanne? Where do you come from? What do you do? Go ahead.
Of course, yeah. My name is Sanne De Ridder. First of all, I'm happily married and father of two kids. Juliette is 6 years old, and Lucas, who is 4. And since 2 years, we have a golden retriever in the family as well. Her name is Stella.
It's a third one.
Yeah, indeed. That was kind of the discussion that was going on during the Corona period. Are we going for a third child? And then that was the opinion of my wife, and I had the opinion of, nah, 2 is more than enough. Let's get a dog. So that's the only discussion.
Compromise.
Yeah, that's the only discussion that I've won. So.
Oh yeah, the hard sales negotiation skills is still on the side of your wife. Then.
Yeah. Indeed. I used to play soccer when I was 6 until I was 24 on a semi-professional level, but then I ruptured my ACL, and since then had 4, I lost count already, or maybe 5 knee surgeries. So I'm keeping it at cycling and swimming now and then. And I'm also the commercial director of TopDesk Belgium. And maybe a fun fact, I think it was last week, the 1st of June. It was my 8 years anniversary at TopDesk.
All right, congratulations, man! 8 years.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that you have had pretty interesting stuff happening there that we'll touch on during this discussion. But maybe about those, you played soccer from 6 to 24 years old, then had to stop because of interesting. Do you have then that competitive mindset or that team spirit from that soccer game? Do you still see, some things that you took on from those sports, let's say adventure, into the role that you're in now?
Competitive mindset is always something that I will have, I think, even when we do like team outings with TopDesk, for example. I have the mindset, when you do something, you're in it to win it, of course. So yeah.
Because what kind of person in the team were you then? Were you were you kind of more of the leader of the soccer team, or were you more the one that were put at very crucial moments in the game, or?
Yeah, from a position point of perspective, I in the youth I was always a winger, so attacking player on the sides, and then in the last years of my career, I was the right back defender, but I had the entire side for me. So one of my strong points was my condition, so I could run quite good. And then give the assists to the striker to score.
Lovely, like you should. Was it then kind of a fallback moment when you realize I'm 24 now, I really have to do something else? What will I go and do? Or were you maybe in a semi-professional way where you actually already had a job, or let's say other than playing soccer?
Yeah, exactly. And it was I think it was more a combination of things. So also there was also the period where my daughter was born. So I think it just ended like the football career and starting the work and family life business. So no regrets whatsoever. So
no, I can imagine for sure. All right, well, maybe you can because if I'm not mistaken, I think that you entered TopDesk and actually never left since.
Yeah, true.
So I think there is no better ambassador than TopDesk than yourself to kind of, explain the audience what TopDesk do or is, and what the goal is and all.
Yeah, so basically it's from origin a Dutch software company, and what we do is we deliver service management software, so enterprise service management. So we help IT, facility, HR departments within companies to deliver better services towards their internal customers, or sometimes also external customers. That's basically what we do.
Okay, clear. And so let's talk about your, I was going to say road to revenue leadership, but actually also road to TopDesk leadership. Where and when in the journey of TopDesk did you enter? And then, what was the challenge back then? What were your responsibilities all the way from where you are now?
Yeah. Shall I go back to the university time, what I studied, etc., or what is relevant?
Well, yeah, why not? If you think it's relevant, let's do it.
Well, first of all, I studied, I think, sociology in the University of Antwerp, followed by the Master Strategic Communication, and which was actually a quite nice combination for a broad academic basis. So I'm really a people person. I thrive in groups, interactions with a lot of people, keen to keep on learning new things, sharing and exchange ideas with others. And in my course of sociology, I was intrigued by the dynamics within a group or between groups, and what kind of things influenced these dynamics, how people will behave in a specific environment. So when I look back on it, I think there lies a certain basis for team crafting. So that was quite interesting. So what kind of profiles do you need in your team? But I think one of the courses that really relates to me was the organization sociology. That was a very interesting one. So it talked about how organizations developed and transformed over time, which challenges they encountered and how they tackled them. And a dynamic that is, very actual in the world that we're living now as well. The pandemic, the Ukraine-Russian war, inflation, tech layoffs, etc., economic instability. So, interesting times. After my bachelor sociology, I decided to do my master in strategic communication. And this was more business focused and marketing related. So direct and e-marketing, internal communication, consumer psychology, negotiating, etc.
Do you still remember why strategic communication?
No, I think because the master of sociology was also an option, of course, but I think it wasn't broad enough for me. So I wanted to do like a combination of more business insights. So I think that was a nice combination of the people thing and the group interactions, which is the basis for sociology, and then adding the business topics of strategic communication. So that was a really nice combination. So actually, if I look back on those education tracks, you could say that's all very relevant for a career in sales. So
I think you could definitely say that.
Thanks for the self-reflection, Dylan.
You're welcome. No, but it's funny that you say that, because indeed, I don't think I've ever met someone that studied sociology, but as you say, really understands people behavior, group interaction. It's just like, a salesperson that needs to manage different stakeholders at the same time and needs to know when to enter where and say what. So totally.
And I think so. What I learned from those studies is I wanted to be in the people business and something that had some commercial affinity. I think that was my mindset back then. Also, during my studies as a student, I worked often at festivals, so mainly behind the bar. But also there, after 1 year or something, I think I was responsible for the entire bar team, so 15 to 20 people, on events like, what was it then, Sensation White, Sensation Black, Tomorrowland, Base Leader, those kind of events.
All right.
I worked for Hamilton Bright as well, not sure if you know, as a student. So that's
more
like product related. So on the floor sales reps. So then you go to a store like Media Market or Van den Borre, and you need to pitch the new Samsung smart TV. So yeah, I think that was already some kind of indication for my future career path.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I can say that indeed in your case it was much more early in your career that you had some kind of touch with sales. I feel that a lot of people, enter sales by accident or just because that's a natural next step. But in your case, I can tell that it was just made for you. So maybe you can feel free to continue or transition to how you
I was
entered then at
graduated,
TopDesk.
so I had the master degree in the pocket and was looking for my first job. So a sales job that was clear for me, and preferably in a nice organization, of course. And I think it was my second or third interview that I've had, and I was introduced at TopDesk. Did my 2 interviews, signed my contract. It was in April, to start in June. Before I started...
Do you dare still remember why TopDesk? Or did you have many interviews before TopDesk as well, or?
No, it was my 3rd interview, I think. So I think I had 2 applications with other companies before that. So actually, the job search went quite easily. And I didn't start it immediately, so I signed in April to start in June, because before I started at TopDesk, I was first getting married already.
Okay.
And in May we went on a honeymoon to Mexico, I think it was. So actually, I married, and when I was still a student, so the work life had yet to start. So I started working at TopDesk as a newlywed, and I started in what they currently call like an SDR role. So then it was I think inside sales, office sales, it was called. And I entered TopDesk Belgium as colleague, number 11, if I recall it correctly. So I did
in Belgium or over the entire group?
No, in Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah, for TopDesk Belgium. Gotcha. Yeah. Back then it was only an office in Antwerp that we had.
Okay.
Yeah.
But did this mean that you had to move to Antwerp? To Antwerp, or did you say Amsterdam?
Antwerp.
Antwerp, so you said, okay. So it makes sense, yeah.
It's really close to where I live. I live in Wilrijk, so it's really 10 minutes of my hometown.
Okay.
Yeah. After 1.5, 2 years, I became account manager. So this means managing my own customers' portfolio, but also visiting multiple organizations to see if TopDesk could be a good fit for them. I think I was in this role for 3 years, give or take, and then became a sales manager. And then we also opened a second office in Charleroi. So in that role, I was responsible for our sales colleagues over those two offices.
Okay.
And
how many people were there in the team? Do you remember?
12, 13, 14 salespeople, I think.
So including inside sales and account managers.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it was the year before COVID that we initiated the organizational change towards the business unit. And later on, the role of business unit manager was introduced, and that was a kind of the tipping point where you can see, where you can saw the overlap between my role as a sales manager and the business unit manager. So that's also when my role changed from a sales manager more towards the role of commercial director. And so that's my current role, and that's what I'm doing for the last 2 years now. So that's basically my 8-year career within TopDesk so far. Yeah.
Okay, that's super interesting. So, what are the responsibilities or challenges that you're facing currently in the CCO role?
Yeah, so basically it's like so we initiated those business units. So that was we initiated before the corona, but actually it turns out it was already a good thing that we initiated that, because I really believe it will stimulate and accelerate our growth in terms of adding new customers, but also in our retention policy to keep our customers happy. So I think one of the challenges last year was the French-speaking market in Belgium with our second office in Charleroi, but actually last year was also a very good year there. So it's we're now in a phase of keeping the momentum and keep growing.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So, as you know, Sanne, we will deep dive into that transformation that you did inside TopDesk, and I think that's actually going to be interesting because obviously it has been a big, I think, a learning phase for you, but also for TopDesk, as you know, there's a lot of overlap in between you two. So maybe take us wherever you want to take us in that transformation journey of really breaking the silos and building multidisciplinary teams, and bring enough context, and because I'm also curious about what were the challenges, how did this come up on the roadmap, and then how did you go and actually do it?
Yeah. So I always explain. So actually, what we try to do is we moved from a traditional organization towards more a matrix organization. We're not fully a matrix organization, so we're some of a hybrid situation, I think. We all know the traditional organization. That's when I started with TopDesk as well. So you have, especially also TopDesk Belgium, which is a sales business-oriented office, because our development and support back then when I started was in the other countries. So we had a sales department and a consultancy department. And then, some people were picking up additional tasks like doing HR and invoicing. Now we have dedicated people in that role. But of course, the traditional structure has advantages as well. It's very clear and straightforward. You also know who to report to. However, it also has some disadvantages, and it limits the cooperation between departments, and it's usually top-down driven as well. And the benefits of a matrix organization is actually created to roll out experiments, projects faster because they do not rely on the hierarchical decision making. So it's more a movement towards more self-steering teams. So to make it more concrete, what we did is we brought the sales and the consultants together, forming one team, taking into account the personal preferences, strengths of the individuals as well. So back then we had no BDM, CSM separation in the sales role. It was just like SDR and account manager. So a sales individual that likes fast decision making, short sales cycles is likely to get less happy in like the public oriented business unit, for example. It will be more put in his or her strength in a private business unit. If you are a sales individual that is really good in using your social network and bringing peers together, then that is something that really works well in the public industry, of course. So really team crafting and taking those individual strengths into account is important as well. Consultants the same. What kind of implementations you like more than others, and why is that? Where do you feel more energy, etc.? So it turns out that we had some really cool benefits out of it as well.
Yeah, because such a transformation, what does that actually mean if you really make it tangible? Does it mean that you have other roles with people having new responsibilities, new activities that they have to perform, new communication relationships between people, or can you try to make it very tangible of what that transformation meant for the organization?
Yeah, I think the key benefits are knowledge and expertise. So one of the effects is that you get a better feedback loop in the business. From consultancy to sales. Sales better understands how the product is used effectively within the organization and can take this expertise into their approach towards new organizations. And this helps and contributes to become that trusted advisor towards the customers. So I think that's one thing. Another one is better focus. So it's more clear. Better focus is always good, of course. So it means also more tangible, I think, to work with for colleagues. The more tangible the goals become, the more motivated your team also gets. It's not too vague. It's really clear where we are working on or towards. Having a common goal between sales and consultants, what we call the business sides. So now we have a common goal, make the business unit successful, the new team. Successful means in terms of business result, but also in terms of teamwork, group atmosphere, of course. And for us, it was also a solution to be more scalable. So I think, those are the key benefits.
Because around what are the matrices structured around? Is it then public versus private, or is it really around certain project? Okay.
Yeah. So we made a decision. I always think I always advise to take a pragmatic approach on this. So it's indeed, we have two business units. So one is public and one is private oriented. So public is local government, healthcare, national government, education, etc. And private is industry and retail, finance, professional services, those kind of companies. Yeah.
Okay. And because you said something about this is also going to be much more scalable towards the future, do you mean then that it would be easier then to add extra business units on top of it once the volume reaches a certain threshold? Or
yeah, exactly. But because that's also what they did in the headquarters in Netherlands. So we followed the transition of the headquarters and implemented it in Belgium as well. But in the Netherlands, you really have like business unit education, business unit local government, business unit
gotcha.
Industry and retail. So they really have those specific business units. And I think if we come at a certain growth point, cross point, indeed, with TopDesk Belgium in the amount of FTEs or the amount of customers that we have, we can really easily divide the bigger group of public and private more into those detailed segments as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe a question I'm asking myself related to this one is that, just for anyone listening that might be thinking, all right, maybe I also should consider doing such a transformation. When did this occur? When did you actually catch this on the roadmap? When did you ask yourself the question, maybe guys, we should think about doing this thing because this, we cannot continue like this. Do you still remember a moment in time when that happens?
Well, I think maybe unconsciously, when I reflect on it, I think maybe I already implemented parts of it in my day-to-day work when I was an account manager. Because back then I could visit like a corporate financial institution, like a bank, for example, on Monday. But on Tuesday I would go to a hospital, or on Wednesday to a startup company of 5 people sitting in the living room of someone at home. And on Thursday a municipality, and which is of course very cool to see that the TopDesk product can add value to every one of those organizations. But as a sales individual, you constantly need to adapt your storyline to level with your potential customer, of course, to understand really their business. So I remember that back then I created, for example, my sales deck was really tailored towards municipalities, specific industries, indeed. So I think that was already a first sign. And just also, to be honest, we also followed the movement from the headquarters in the Netherlands, of course. So they also could give us some expertise on the do's and don'ts and the pitfalls, for example.
I also wanted to ask if you had indeed some external coaching or consultancy helping you really in the transformation, but probably then mostly from HQ.
Yeah, HQ, but also internally from Belgium. So not really external help. So we need people from the headquarters helped because they were already more familiar in this way of working. But we also had an internal colleague who took the role of agile coach during this transition. And
that was someone from within TopDesk that had, just also another responsibility within the company.
Yeah, and was also really interested in becoming an agile coach and taking courses in that. So that's from her personal growth path, we provided that kind of personal development. Yeah, indeed. And then she also had a concrete project to work on, indeed. Yeah. And I think, I still remember on how we did that, because I think a graphical way of showing the organizational structure also helps for people. Also, so I think we used
an organogram
Yeah, kind of. But also, I think we used the metaphor of climbing the mountain together with
Okay.
several stops along the way. So reflection moments,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not okay, let's do this, and 2 months later we have those business units up and running. So it takes some time.
Would be
So
nice.
yeah.
So, yeah, because that's also maybe something I wanted to ask you. Did you experience some internal pushback? People, not really want to change, or
Doesn't any organizational change comes with the necessary pushback? But no, actually, it went still quite okay. Actually, it took some time to get used to this way of working. So finding the right rhythm, I think, our biggest challenge was that we started and initiated this organizational change. Yeah, and then COVID happened. So
right?
this was adding an extra layer of complexity to this transition, because we were working remotely, so it was more difficult to feel like the sentiment from the colleagues, right?
Or maybe that change was a peanut compared to COVID, and people are like, yeah, you know what, it's all good.
Yeah, and I think here the advice, things you can do as management is be full transparency, of course, and ask feedback on a regular basis and create a safe environment where it's okay to be critical. But then we also ask for input, of course, and ideas to make it better and how they can contribute as well. And so it's really important.
How do you do that then? Is that via surveys? Is that via calls? Is that via really organized team calls around that specific project? Or
so we have our monthly Team BE afternoons every month on Friday. So that's what we organized, and we use those fixed monthly moments to guide also the colleagues in this change. And I think it's important. It was really a we story. We are doing this together because it will, in the end, improve our way of working. You will be more satisfied in your role as well, because business unit way of working facilitates you to become more an expert on a certain domain. And this will always result in added value towards the customer.
How about the one-on-one communication? Like, I suppose that for everyone there, everyone had to experience some kind of change, some kind of impact on his or her job. So how did you approach that to really communicate one-on-one, what they could expect, or maybe also listen to their preferences? I suppose, you guys kind of did that. So how did you approach that?
We have the process or the system in place, what we call talent leads. So every individual within TopDesk has like a talent lead, which is not necessarily your team lead. The talent lead within TopDesk is responsible for your personal career path, your personal development within TopDesk, most of the times it's also a combined role. It's like a mature consultant within the business that's doing consultancy, but is also a talent lead, for example. I was, now not anymore, but I was a talent lead for years as well, mainly for salespeople then. So the one-on-one communication goes via the talent leads mostly. Yeah, but also those monthly Team BA updates were really in an informal setting, of course. If you have questions, etc., you can ask them always, and try to be as transparent as possible.
That makes sense. How about involving the customer in that transformation? I suppose that they also might have experienced some changes, probably in a positive way, but I can imagine that you still had to incorporate them, right?
Yeah, and actually the entire idea of the business unit, it all started with our customers, of course. I think how it really started in the Netherlands was within the group of education customers. We have a lot of higher education and university customers. They all talk to each other, and they come across similar processes as well. So instead of us, TopDesk, as a supplier, answer all of their needs and questions, it's very relevant for them to learn from each other, of course. One university of the other, and we can bundle the needs for this segment and what they really need instead of one voice of the many customers that we have. And I think in Belgium, for example, it resulted in even product-specific integrations for local municipalities on the Belgian market. They are using our product not only for their internal service delivery, but also for citizen support a solution. So towards all the citizens of the municipality. So also deliver services towards their end users, actually.
Yeah.
So they absolutely are seeing the added value of this setup. Yeah.
Yeah. No, very interesting. And I like the way that, you know, it all started from the customer standpoint. I think that's maybe also, yeah, in some way, how you guys, you know, kind of realize that, yeah, maybe this is something that we should work on because, you know, it came from them.
Yeah, and
did you also
in Belgium, we just started with one business unit as well. So we started with the public one. And then I think it was 4 or 5 months later, we started with the private one. So already the private one could take the learnings and the hiccups of what public did. And why public? Because we had an established loyal customer base there with a lot of customers, and there were specific needs in that market segment that we should tackle. So that was actually the first business unit. So it's not that we introduced right away the 2 business units from the start.
Okay. Because and maybe that's also more about the TopDesk itself, but the product and service that you provide, is that really 100% custom made for the client, or?
No, it's more TopDesk is more standard out of the box software. We help with implementing it, but it's more processed based. So you have to put the right settings, etc. So there's no coding and developing.
Because then the question is also from a product level, did you also there kind of, you know, try to do some modification on the product based on the business unit, based on the segment that you focus on with the business unit?
Yeah, mainly it's in terms of integration towards other systems and about, for example, the citizen support. It's about the authentication process. How can you authenticate as a citizen with your It's Me app, for example?
Right.
So those kind of things. Yeah.
Okay. No, very interesting. Then in the preparation, you mentioned something, Sanne. It was about 4DX, the 4 disciplines of execution. And so I will have to ask you to kind of explain me this exactly, because I think it sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, actually, we use 3 principles in what we call the growth triangle, and this is related to the what, where, and how question. And for the what, which tells you something about your ambition as a business unit. So the growth triangle is used by our business unit working. And they work with for the what with the framework which we call alignment canvas. So on this canvas you put your annual goals, related KPIs, your run versus your change projects, what you need from the organization to achieve this, etc. So this is an annual exercise that you do, and every quarter you can look back on your alignment canvas to track your process. Secondly is the where. Where are we going to focus on? This is what we call playbooks. It's similar in the industry, I think. But in your playbook strategy, you really see that sales and marketing collaboration coming together, because it mainly tells you where is our focus going to be. Which industry segment, with what kind of messaging, events, content, etc. Are we going to approach? And lastly, we have the how. How are we going to achieve this? And this is where the 4DX principle comes in.
Okay.
So, because this needs to make the whole really tangible, small and concrete. So that's the power of execution. Actually, it's a simple, repeatable formula for executing your most important priorities and create focus. I think every year organizations spend more than 30 billion creating strategies, and more than 80% of these strategies fail. So the 4 disciplines of executions methodology combined with the alignment canvas and the playbooks that we have provides really the framework for our organizations seeking to improve strategic execution by creating a culture of high performance. So it's really about, you have to make commitments every week, weekly commitments. on the certain goals, targets that you have as a business unit. So, for example, it can be really small things. So it really needs to be achievable. So not big project, but it serves a bigger goal, but it's all in little chunks and achievable things that you can do during your business week. For example, if you have 2 existing customers appointments next week, well, maybe in those conversations, you need to implement the referral question. Hey, are there any other organizations that you know of, maybe? So by implementing those kind of things, behavior, it will contribute to the bigger goal.
Okay. So you look more at the activities that you have to perform, really at the, as you said, the execution itself, that you kind of cascaded down from what is then defined in the alignment canvas.
Yeah, it's really a cascading type of thing that you do. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So you can go very, very deep into that. So there's always room for improvement, I suppose.
Yeah, and every week, because in that way you also stimulate proactivity and new ideas and experiments, etc. For example, if you come across a certain period where lead generation is low, okay, then one of your 4DX commitments can be, I will try to do a different approach. And then see what it yields or what the results are. Yeah.
Interesting. Those commitments, do you then also define a time period, or is it fixed? Like you always make a commitment for a month or a week?
No, it's weekly. So on Fridays we have like the business unit stand-ups, and there you give an update on the commitment of last week, and you give a new commitment for next week. And of course, it's creating also some people pressure, of course. If you every week, I haven't done my commitment, yeah, then so
of course, that's not good. But is it not sometimes, too short of a time frame, a week, to really see if that commitment has yielded some thing that you would expect?
Of course, over the period of 4 or 6 weeks, you can work on the same commitment, of course, but you have to be really explicit, and it has to be measurable. So you have a difference between lag and lead measures, of course. So if it's about, indeed, I'm gonna investigate if a certain lead generation project is going to yield more lead, for example, then of course you have to do the experiment over more time. But your commitment for the first week can be, I will think of a new way of doing that, just thinking about the process. Week later, yes, I thought about it. Second week, your commitment can be, I will do some execution this week. I try to reach out to X amount of organizations to see if it works. So you're really gonna break it down. It's the same topic, of course, but your weekly commitment has to be like really achievable and tangible. Yeah.
No, I like how you foster an innovation also inside the sales team, because it feels like you have all those micro pilot projects running all in parallel. And then probably one in the so many cases, they might be very interesting to really propagate into the entire team. Is it?
Yeah, exactly. But also sometimes you have the downside. If you experiment and it doesn't work, you also need to put an end on it. So you don't have to keep on doing something for 6 months or a year. So it's really about experimenting, learn from it. Doesn't work, all right, do something else, etc. So that's really something that we incorporate and stimulate within the TopDesk culture as well.
Mm-hmm. No, I love it. So, Sanne, if you would have to look back at your career and say, that was really the most challenging thing I had to do, what would it be and why?
Yeah, what I think is the most challenging, but also a really nice thing about the TopDesk culture is that when you really become conscious of the fact that you are responsible for your own career path. I think some people might relate, but every 3 years I have some kind of reflection moment where I think, is this still it for me? Do I see enough challenges, etc.? And I think it's important that an employer can facilitate and sometimes enable new opportunities for you, but it's still you as an individual that needs to take ownership of your career and seize those opportunities when they pass by. And sometimes you can create opportunities yourself. as well. So I think, self-reflection from time to time in the rat race of your job in the run is important to steer your career in a certain direction. So I had some challenging times where I came on a crossroad and think of, okay, which path am I going to? And until now, I had all the possibilities that I was looking for within the TopDesk organization. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's actually a very good. I mean, everything that you said there, I 100% agree with that. I mean, you have to take ownership of your own career. I've had an intern once that also said at the end of the internship, it would have been nice if I could have done that. But if you would have said that to us, then obviously we would have given that opportunity. So 100% feel you like the employee can facilitate a lot, but you have to take ownership over what you want. But also the thing that really fascinates me in some way is that indeed you are at TopDesk for already 8 years. Like that's rare nowadays. People don't stay that long with the same employer. So what would then be, the secret sauce of TopDesk, of how did they keep Sanne so long?
Then I think all of the things then come down to company culture. I think so. It's trust, freedom, and responsibility. Those are our three company culture words, and it's always every situation that you come across with colleagues, you can always bring it back to that triangle. And so we as an employer, we really want to give you like the trust and freedom, but of course you have to use it in a responsible way, of course. And if something is going wrong, if we can say it like that, it's almost related to one of those three things. And I think the amount of indeed opportunities, sometimes people don't see it, but it's also depending on the structure of the organization if there is room for that as well, of course. So I'm not saying that in every organization it's the case, but within TopDesk I had the feeling that whenever I was stuck or doubting on some kind of things, I could fall back on my internal network. So having good conversations with people within the organization to find a new path and new challenges. So
that's I think that's the key element, 100%. I mean, the culture. I think for a lot of people it's an obvious thing. For many other people, I think it would be something so difficult to make it tangible in some way. So do you have some certain things or certain advices or thing that you have experienced that really help in keeping that culture alive?
Implement it already from the start, from the first touch points, of course, in your job interviews. I think our first round of interview is only focused on, is this a fit with the TopDesk company, yes or not? Even in the second conversation, we will talk about the role and the function and let's say the sales skill set, etc. But the first one is really about, is there a company fit, yes or no? So by that, you're already filtering out certain candidates, profiles.
It's just like you qualify clients or prospects, I should say.
Yeah, exactly. And what I also think is really special, because we have we have TopDesk offices in 11 countries, so from Brazil to Australia as well. And what really strikes to me is that you can enter the Brazilian TopDesk office or you can enter the Australian TopDesk office, and you will feel the same vibe. And okay, there are cultural differences for sure, but that's really something unique and special indeed.
I think that's indeed a good check whether or not you have a company culture that's above and beyond the borders.
But it's in everything that you do. It's about those talent leads play an important role by managing taking the company culture as a health metric, so to say. It's about doing your work hard, but also room for personal development, indeed, but also fun stuff like fun activities, etc. So, and that's mostly there are no shortcuts to creating like really a company culture, right? It's not about, hey, I put a dartboard or a pool table here and our company culture is awesome. So, yeah.
That would have been too easy.
Yeah,
No,
indeed.
I totally understand. So maybe one last question, Sanne, before we end up this discussion. Like, what's now for you? For you, a little bit of Dutch in there. What's for you now the current ambition? What are you driving for? What's the next goal, the next milestone for yourself?
Yeah, I think for we as TopDesk, because I'm at the company for 8 years now, so I'm already so related to TopDesk that I always speak in terms of we.
That's good.
Yeah, we really want to become like the local champion of service management. We are in a unique position to do so because we are the only service management vendor with 2 local offices in Belgium, so for the Dutch and the French-speaking part. And most of our competitors work via resellers on the Belgian market, so that reinforces our local way of working and being close to our customers. And yeah, for me personally, it's really about seeing that success of for example, the business unit setup and really how we can help more companies, because there's still a lot to gain in the Belgian market. If you look at the maturity, if we talk about service management processes, and Belgium is really a KMO country, as we say. So a lot of companies are still benefits from the TopDesk solution, I think. So I see a lot of challenges there, but that's the good thing, of course.
And is it also, and I don't know if you can say anything about it, but is it also on the roadmap to acquire or to merge with others, to maybe make also an EMEA team instead of just focusing on this local market here, or do you have, or does the company also have ambitions in terms of that, or?
Yeah, so I think worldwide the focus is now on the German and the US market, which is also huge. Of course, we have one office in Orlando there. I think with our 11 countries that we are present now, I think for now it's still okay. So we have not concrete plans to open a new office in another country. It's more about bringing some of those TopDesk branches, because TopDesk Belgium is actually as a branch quite mature, because we were the 4th office that opened. But I think the US market.
So you're the role model for the other markets.
Yeah, maybe on some things, indeed. But there's also, really. So I think our colleagues from the US will look sometimes strangely at us, because we are such a small country, but we do have two offices. So they have one office for the entire market of the US, and we are like Belgium, but we have the complexity of our of our country. And maybe the success of our French-speaking office in Charleroi, maybe in a few years it will be like the stepping stone to move to open TopDesk France, for example, and
exactly. Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's see.
Sanne, I have to thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. Thank you for sharing also so openly about the transformation project inside TopDesk. If people want to find out more about you, about TopDesk, is there a specific website or profile you want to send them to?
We do have a website, yes. So if they want to know something about the TopDesk product, they can always visit the website. But of course, they can also reach out to one of my colleagues or to me directly via LinkedIn, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you also looking for new sales reps, or a little shout out towards that direction, or not particularly?
I have to check. Maybe we're not so many, but maybe 1 or 2 vacancies open at the moment. Yeah.
All right.
So we also have a job site as well, TopDesk, where we explain also about the culture, etc. So they can check out that as well.
Perfect. Now, Sanne, I promised the one last question, but it's a question I ask all my guests, so you might have heard it before. But so if Sanne De Ridder would be a brand, what would it stand for?
So my personal brand.
Exactly.
I would say, my personal brand would stand for maybe the authentic relationship builder, if you can call it like that.
Authentic relationship builder.
Yeah. So my personal network, but also my internal TopDesk network has always helped me in reaching certain goals that I had for myself. But of course, I'm also passionate about what we do at TopDesk, and that is impacting others, of course. So it's also an important factor. So helping companies to create happy employees is actually what also gives me a lot of energy.
A lot of energy. All right. Well, I take that as an answer. Sanne, thank you so much, and we keep in touch, man.
Yes. All right. Bye-bye.
That's it. We have once again reached the end of an episode. I just really appreciate you all spending the time. If you like what you heard, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Until next week with a fresh new episode.